All right, so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into how to prepare for a mortgage loan underwriter interview. We've got some awesome resources from RoleCatcher, a detailed career guide, and an interview guide packed with sample questions, and even better access to their AI platform.
That's right.
Our mission
Yeah.
is to help you not only answer these questions, but to really impress
hmm
with your understanding of this role and the whole industry.
Yeah, and what I find really fascinating about this role is you're not just crunching numbers like some people might think. You're actually having a direct impact on people's lives. You're assessing risk, yes, of course, but there's also like a human element to it.
Absolutely.
It's really interesting.
So let's jump right into their interview guide
Okay.
and break down some of the tricky questions you might be asked.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so let's start with a real classic. Tell us about your experience as a mortgage loan underwriter. Now, it seems simple enough, but there's an art to answering this one well.
Right. Well, it's all about showcasing your passion and your expertise without like just reciting your resume. So instead of listing job titles, you really want to quantify your impact. So think about it. Did you process a high volume of loans? Did you maintain a low default rate? Give concrete examples that really demonstrate your skills.
Right, so instead of saying, I worked as an underwriter at blah, blah, blah company, you could say, during my time at blah, blah, blah company, I underwrote an average of 50 loans per month, maintaining a 98% approval rating while adhering to all regulatory guidelines.
Exactly.
That's powerful.
Doom. Yeah, that's a powerful statement. And you know what? RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze your past experience and suggest ways to quantify your achievements for maximum impact. It's like having your own personal resume writer
Oh, I like that.
in your corner.
Okay, so let's say you nailed that first question. They come back with a follow-up. Can you describe a challenging loan scenario you faced and how you resolved it? So now they're really trying to test your problem-solving skills.
Right. So you got to think back to a time where you had to make a really tough decision. Maybe a borrower had a complex financial history, or maybe there was some missing documentation. What steps did you take? How did you analyze the situation?
Yeah, it's not just about the solution. It's about like how you got there. What was your thought process like? Did you consult with colleagues? Did you do some research? Show them you're resourceful.
Resourceful, thorough.
And thorough.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice answering these kinds of behavioral questions. It gives you feedback on your delivery and can even suggest relevant examples from your own experience.
Oh, wow. That's great. Now, for a question that gets a little technical, how do you determine if a borrower is creditworthy? So this is where your knowledge of financial analysis really comes in.
Right. So walk them through your step-by-step process. Do you start with credit reports, income verification, debt-to-income ratios? Mention specific tools or software that you use, like Desktop Underwriter, or loan origination systems, anything that shows you know your stuff.
Yeah, like you could say, I start by analyzing the borrower's credit report, paying close attention to payment history, outstanding debt, and credit utilization. I then verify income and employment, calculate debt-to-income ratios, and assess the overall financial stability.
Perfect. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting? RoleCatcher's career guide actually breaks down all the key skills needed for this role, like financial analysis, risk assessment, knowledge of regulations. You can use these insights to tailor your answers and highlight the most relevant skills for that specific job.
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay, so let's say they want to dig a little deeper into your risk assessment skills. They might ask you, what are some red flags you look for when assessing creditworthiness?
Okay, well, think about things like inconsistencies in employment history, gaps in income, large credit inquiries, or a high number of revolving accounts. These are all potential warning signs that an underwriter needs to investigate further.
Right, and you can mention specific metrics or ratios that you use to assess risk, like the debt-to-income ratio or the loan-to-value ratio.
Exactly. And here's where RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful. It can analyze your responses to these technical questions and suggest improvements, making sure you're using the right terminology and demonstrating a deep understanding of the concepts.
Oh, wow, that's really helpful. All right, let's move on to a question that assesses your commitment to staying updated. In the ever-changing mortgage industry, how do you stay current with changes in the mortgage industry and underwriting guidelines?
Okay, well, this is where you get to showcase your dedication to professional development. Mention specific industry publications that you read, like National Mortgage News or the Mortgage Bankers Association Journal.
Yeah, you can even mention conferences you've attended or webinars you've watched.
Yeah.
Especially ones that are related to regulatory changes or emerging trends.
Right, like you could say, I regularly attend webinars hosted by the MBA, on topics like regulatory compliance and risk management. I also subscribe to several industry newsletters to stay informed about the latest market trends and best practices.
Yeah, that shows you're proactive and committed to staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly, and remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you identify relevant industry resources and tailor your response to the specific requirements of the job you're applying for.
So it really does all the work for you.
Pretty much.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, so we've covered some really important questions, but let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll delve into even more challenging scenarios and discuss how RoleCatcher can help you prepare for them.
Okay, so let's jump back into those interview questions. Imagine the interviewer says, "How do you handle complex loan applications that require additional documentation?" They're really trying to test your attention to detail and organizational skills there.
Right, yeah, so this is your chance to shine as a problem solver. You could say something like, when I encounter a complex application, my first step is to really identify what's missing. Then I communicate clearly with the borrower, explaining what's needed and why. I also use a secure system for document collection to ensure everything is organized and compliant.
Right, it's all about demonstrating a systematic approach and mentioning specific tools or processes you use to track documents and communicate with borrowers just adds that extra layer of professionalism.
Yeah, and don't forget those quantifiable results. Like, did you successfully gather the missing documentation from 90% of borrowers within a specific time frame? Those details really matter.
Absolutely, they do. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about efficiency. How about this question? How do you ensure that loan applications are processed in a timely manner?
Okay, so this is where you showcase your time management skills
Mm.
and your ability to prioritize. You could say, I prioritize applications based on deadlines and complexity. Utilizing a task management system to stay organized, I also leverage automated underwriting systems to help streamline those workflows.
Perfect, yeah. Highlighting your ability to balance technology with a hands-on approach shows you're adaptable and efficient.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really come in handy. It can suggest relevant keywords from the job description. So like if they emphasize process improvement, you can highlight your experience with optimizing workflows.
Right. Yeah, you want to speak their language. Show them you understand their needs. Okay, are you ready for a question that really tests those decision-making skills? How do you handle loan applications that don't meet the lender's guidelines?
That's a tough one. But it's all about demonstrating your ability to make tough calls while still adhering to all those regulations. So you could say, when an application falls short, I thoroughly review the reasons and document my findings. Then I communicate the decision to the borrower clearly and empathetically, and I explore any alternative options, or even recommend credit counseling if appropriate.
That's a great response. It shows a balance of professionalism and empathy. It's also a good opportunity to mention your knowledge of specific guidelines and regulations, just to further demonstrate your expertise.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help make sure your answer aligns with that specific job description. It can even suggest relevant industry regulations to mention, showing you're aware of all those compliance issues.
Great, keeping you on track. Okay, let's try another one. How do you handle difficult or complex loan scenarios?
All right, so now they want to see how you handle those challenging situations and how you stay calm under pressure. So think of a specific example, maybe a self-employed borrower with like a fluctuating income.
Right, and walk them through your analysis. What additional documentation did you request? Did you consult with any experts? What steps did you take to make that sound decision?
It's about showing your resourcefulness.
Resourcefulness and judgment.
In your judgment, exactly.
And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you select relevant examples from your past experience that align with the skills they're looking for. It's like having a personal interview coach, tailoring your answers for maximum impact.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, now for a question that seems pretty straightforward, but is actually really important. How do you ensure loan applications are processed with a high level of accuracy?
Yeah, accuracy is everything in this role. This is where you really show your attention to detail and your commitment to quality control.
So you could say, I have a multi-step process for ensuring accuracy. First, I thoroughly review all documents for consistency and completeness. Then I verify all information against independent sources, like credit reports and tax returns.
And don't forget to mention any tools or systems you use to maintain that accuracy, like automated quality checks or document comparison software.
Right, and RoleCatcher's AI could suggest mentioning a time. When you cut like a critical error, that could have had huge financial repercussions. Really demonstrate your vigilance.
That's a great example of how a specific story can make your answer so much stronger. Now, we've covered a ton of interview questions, but there's one more crucial aspect we haven't touched on yet: career advancement.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's so important to show them that you're ambitious and thinking long term. And RoleCatcher's Career Guide has a fantastic roadmap for this. It outlines the different stages of a mortgage loan underwriter career, from junior to senior and even chief underwriter.
So when they ask about your career goals, you can use this information. You could say something like, I'm really excited about the growth potential in this field. I'm eager to learn new skills, take on more responsibility, and eventually move into a senior underwriter role or even a management position.
Right, showing them you're envisioning a future with the company. Shows commitment and ambition.
Exactly. And don't forget about professional development. Mentioning relevant certifications, like the Certified Mortgage Underwriter or the Certified Residential Underwriter, shows you're dedicated to continuous learning.
And you can even use RoleCatcher's AI to research those industry-recognized certifications and tailor your response to the specific job.
It shows you've done your homework and that you're serious about investing in your professional growth. Okay, so we've talked a lot about those interview questions. Now let's move on to that final component of RoleCatcher's platform, their AI-powered co-pilot. It's like having your own personalized career coach.
Oh, I love this feature. It can analyze the specific job description you're going for and help tailor your CV and cover letter to perfectly match what they're looking for. It's like a secret weapon to get your application noticed.
It's so valuable, especially with those applicant tracking systems. You know, the ones that can filter out even qualified candidates. RoleCatcher's AI makes sure your application highlights the most relevant skills and keywords, so you're more likely to be seen by recruiters.
And that's not all. RoleCatcher's Copilot also lets you practice your answers with their AI-powered video feedback tool. So you record yourself answering questions, and the AI analyzes your delivery, your word choice, even your body language.
It's like a virtual mock interview with an expert who can point out areas for improvement.
And the feedback is so detailed. It looks at your word choice, your tone of voice, even the pacing of your delivery.
Helping you fine-tune everything.
And here's the best part. RoleCatcher's AI can even suggest specific examples from your past that you can use to illustrate your skills and achievements.
It's like having a personal storyteller, helping you craft the perfect narrative.
That's amazing.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from breaking down those tough interview questions to exploring how RoleCatcher's AI can help you prepare.
But before we wrap up, there's one last piece of advice I want to leave you with.
All right, let's hear it. Remember, while this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the tools, your passion, your genuine interest, and that human touch are really what will set you apart.
So true.
Combine those qualities with everything we've talked about today, and you'll be well on your way to a successful and fulfilling career. As a mortgage loan underwriter.
Okay, so we've talked about the career guide and all those tricky interview questions, but let's focus on how RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you polish your interview skills, like their Prepare with AI feature. It's like having a personal coach.
Right.
To refine your answers and boost your confidence.
Yeah, this is great for practicing those behavioral questions, like, tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult customer, or describe a situation where you had to make a tough decision.
Right. You can actually record yourself answering those questions. And RoleCatcher's AI gives you instant feedback on your delivery, content, even your body language.
Wow, it's like having a virtual mock interview with an expert who can help you improve.
Exactly. And the feedback is super detailed. It analyzes your word choice, tone of voice, even how fast you're talking.
So you can really fine-tune everything.
Yeah. And the best part is it can suggest specific examples from your own experience.
Yeah.
That you can use to illustrate your skills.
It's like having a personal storyteller.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap up this deep dive with some key takeaways to really help you crush that mortgage loan underwriter interview.
All right, let's do it.
First and foremost, preparation is key. You got to familiarize yourself with the company, the industry trends. Use those resources we talked about, like RoleCatcher's Career Guide and Interview Guide, to really understand what they're looking for.
Right, and don't forget to practice. Use that AI platform to rehearse your answers, work on your delivery, and build that confidence.
Absolutely. And remember, the mortgage industry is constantly changing. Technology is a big part of that. So make sure you highlight your tech skills.
Yeah.
And your ability to adapt.
Right, gotta stay ahead of game.
And finally, bring your authentic self to the interview. Let your passion shine through. You know, that genuine interest in helping people achieve their home ownership dreams.
So true.
So combine all those elements: preparation, practice, tech skills, authenticity, and you'll be well on your way to landing that dream job as a mortgage loan underwriter.
Best of luck out there.
We're rooting for you.